All right, let's jump right in. This is a fast-paced guide for engineers on building Claude Skills from scratch. We're going to show you how to create workflows that are repeatable and reliable, so you only have to teach Claude how to do something once.
Okay, let's be real for a second. As an engineer, your time is everything. How many times have you found yourself pasting the same chunk of instructions, re-explaining the same context, or walking an AI through the exact same process over and over again? It's a huge waste of time, and let's be honest, a huge waste of tokens.
Well, that exact problem is what Claude Skills were designed to solve. A skill is basically just a packaged set of instructions. You put in the work to teach Claude a specific workflow one time, and it's got it. It's all about turning those one-off chats into reusable, automated tools in your toolkit. So, here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the core concepts, then we'll look at the actual file structure. After that, we'll walk through writing your very first skill, cover some best practices, and wrap up with how to test it and get going right away. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What actually makes a skill tick? It's all about a really smart design principle. And that principle is progressive disclosure. This is seriously clever, and it's key for being token efficient. See that YAML front matter? It's a tiny little snippet that's always available, and it acts like a trigger. Only when Claude thinks that skill is relevant does it bother to load the main instructions from the skl.md file. And then, only if it needs it, will it go a level deeper and pull in linked files. It's a smart, layered system that keeps things incredibly light. Now, for those of you working with external tools, you've got to understand the relationship between MCP, the master control program, and skills. Just think of MCP as the raw plumbing. It gives Claude the basic connection to an API for something like Figma or Linear. But the skill, that provides the knowledge, the actual brainpower on how to use that tool to get something done.
I love this analogy because it just makes everything click. MCP gives you a professional, fully stocked kitchen. You've got all the tools, all the ingredients. But the skill, that's your recipe book. You need both to cook a 5-star meal reliably every single time. The kitchen alone just isn't enough. You need the expertise from the recipe.
Okay, theory is great, but what does this actually look like on your file system? Let's break down the practical structure. You know, it's actually incredibly simple. A skill is just a folder. That's it. The only thing you absolutely have to have is that skill.md file, which is where your instructions live. Everything else, folders for scripts, reference docs, assets, is totally optional. The whole point is to keep it simple and easy to manage.
But simple doesn't mean sloppy. There are a few critical rules you have to follow, and trust me, these will save you a ton of headaches. First, the folder name has to be in kebab case. Second, the main file name has to be skil.md, and yes, it is case sensitive. And this one's a big one, do not put a readme.md file inside the skill folder. It can really confuse the system.
All right, now for the most important part, actually writing the skill. We're going to start with that YAML front matter we talked about because this is really where the magic happens. Okay, listen up, because if you only remember one thing from this whole guide, make it this. The description field in your YAML is everything. It is not just documentation for other developers, it is the direct trigger condition for Claude. This short little string is what Claude uses to decide, hey, should I use this skill right now? And this comparison makes it so clear. A bad description like helps with projects is completely useless. It's way too vague. But look at the good ones. The first one tells you exactly what it does, analyzes Figma files, and crucially, gives trigger phrases like design specs. The second one does the same for Linear, mentioning sprint or create tickets. That's the level of detail Claude needs. So here's your mental model, your rule of thumb for writing a great description. It has to answer two simple questions. What does this skill do, and when should you use it? If you can nail the answer to both of those, your skill is going to trigger reliably. Now, inside the skilmd file itself, you want to keep things nice and organized. Start with your YAML, of course, then have a main instruction section. Break things down into steps, and always try to include examples and a troubleshooting section. This makes your skill way easier to understand, both for Claude and for any other humans who might look at it later. Okay, so you've written a skill. Awesome. But how do you make sure it actually works well? Let's talk about some common patterns and, just as importantly, how to test your work. One of the most powerful patterns you'll use is for sequential workflows. This is perfect for any process where the order of operations is critical. I mean, look at this new customer onboarding example. You can't create a subscription in step 3 until you have the customer ID from step 1, right? A skill can manage all of those dependencies for you flawlessly. When it comes to testing, you really want to focus on 3 things. First, triggering. Does it pop up when it's supposed to and stay quiet when it's not? Second, functionality. Does it actually do the job correctly? And third, performance. Do a little before and after comparison. Is it actually an improvement? And this right here, this is why we do it. The proof is in the pudding. Look at these numbers. Without a skill, this task took 15 back and forth messages and had 3 failed API calls. With the skill, it's just 2 messages, 0 failures, and it cost half the tokens. This is the hard data that shows why building a good skill is so worth it. We have covered a ton of ground, so let's bring it all home with some clear, actionable steps you can take to get your first skill built today. And here's the ultimate shortcut. Don't even start with a blank file. Use the built-in Skill Creator skill. Seriously, just ask Claude to use it, tell it what you want to build, and it will generate the whole SKLMD boilerplate for you, YAML front matter and all. So here's your 4-step launch sequence. 1, find a use case, something repetitive you do all the time. 2, use the Skill Creator to get your starter file. 3, test it out manually with a few different prompts. And 4, iterate. Tweak that description, refine the instructions, and get it triggering perfectly every time. And that's a wrap. I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What's that one repetitive, multi-step task you're sick of doing? Because that is the perfect candidate for your very first Claude skill. Now go build something awesome.